Alright, good morning. Welcome to my channel. A little bit of different music for the beginning of the stream this morning, but that's alright. I'll figure it out for next week. Alright, so what we were doing yesterday was working on this text editor, and we're going to continue today working on some of these challenges. What did we do so far? So we added one single file type, so we have C and Rust. We added line numbers. We can turn them on or off, and we can make them absolute or relative. We did not do soft indent. We did not do auto indent. Hard wrap, soft wrap, end curses, copy paste. I guess we could do copy paste, right? We could figure out how that works. And then we did a config file, although I had a little issue with the way the config thing worked, right? We were trying to so here it is. So this is supposed to be an INI file with like a heading, like display, like that. And I couldn't figure out how to do that part. And there's no like get section. There's a get table. I wonder if get table does the thing. Unfortunately, the documentation is a little thin on the ground here. And all it does is convert a key into a table, which is a map from string to value. Maybe that's what we want. Maybe that's what we want. Okay, so we can take a look at that and see if we can make that a section heading. Maybe I say get display, and then inside there I say get the line numbers value. Right? Because that also returns a key from string to a value. And value has a kind. And we can say into string, I guess. Turn itself into string if possible. Okay, we can look at that. And then modal editing. I'm not sure I want this to be modal editor, at least not yet. Right now there is a mode, right? Let's get rid of this. Right. If I hit Control F, then it goes into quote search mode where I can start typing characters, use size, and it'll find that, and we can use the arrows to go next and previous. So that's kind of a mode. You can hit escape to get out, or enter to just put the cursor at the last thing that was found. There's also a mode, if I say cargo run without a file name, and I hit Control S, now it goes into save mode. But these are just two different forms of a prompt. Can I hit escape? Yeah, save abort and hit Control Q 3 times. Okay. Right, so let's play around a little bit with the config file just to see if I can do the settings thing. If I put this display thing here and say line numbers is off, and I say cargo run, by default line numbers are on. The line numbers are relative by default. Let's see what this looks like. So I can't turn it off yet, but let's see if we can figure out if there's a way to read it in as a section. And we're calling it a table. So let me say get table, and that's right here in editor at the beginning when we create the thing. Here's the line num config is going to be either absolute, relative, or off. Right, so if I say get, instead of get string, we say get table. Right, and then it has to be, I was going to say, well, you know, if we can't get the table, then just return false. So let's we can do it this way, right? We say if config get maybe table, some table is equal to config get table display. Can I println this out table like this? Let's see if it supports debug. And then we can just say line numbers off, just as a placeholder for now. And if we can't get the table, then it's going to be off relative by default, right? Oh, if we can't get the display, we should be able to set a default display thing here. So I guess off is a good default. And this used to be let line num config equals this. All right, just gonna as a placeholder here. And then in our main, this is where we just set the default. Oh, right, we need to figure out how to, we need to clean this up. Okay, one thing at a time, getting distracted. What we need to do is create a table. We can get a table here. Let's take a look at when we build config builder, add source, build clone, set default. And it's any value. So how do we build a table? I guess, is it anything can be converted into a value? Into table. And it's just a map, which is a hash map. Okay. So can we do that? Can I say create table, let display is equal to hash map from, how do you do hash map from? I forgot. Rust hash map from. Oh, there is no from? I thought you could do like from vec or something like that. Go away. Okay. Oh, tuples. Okay, so we can do that. Display as hash map. Oh, and it has to be a specific thing, right? Where's my config? KV, and it has to be from string itself, which is value. So I have to convert all the strings into values as well. So this is going to be hash map colon hash map string value, and value we're going to import from config hash map we can just say tuples into iter collect, so we can create the tuples here, right? This is going to be what was it this thing, just line numbers? Yeah, just line numbers. Okay, so this is line numbers, and it's going to default to relative into, can I do that? And then set default display as display. Okay, so here's the thing. Will this build? This should, I need a semicolon here, so that should be okay. So let's see if this thing built. What doesn't it like? Oh, if let some. And here, it doesn't like this. Hash map is not found. Okay, use standard collections hash map. My fingers went crazy right there. And it doesn't like this. This expression has type result. Oh. I think we can just do okay, right? And that'll convert it. expected strict. Oh, right. I forgot I needed to. Okay, first of all, this needs to be two-stringed. And then I need to do an into iter collect here. Right? Yeah. Okay. So it did something. Now let's see. Oh, it's saying I can do some other thing here. If let OK table equals that. Oh, right. Duh. Okay. Although this is a distraction right now, right? And we're not using absolute anywhere. Oh, right. We'll do that in a minute. Okay, so let's see what happens. I'm going to ePrintln table, and this is going to be whenever we load a file. So, yeah. And then to error. So we quit, cat error. What do we get? We got line numbers is value, origin, none, kind, string, off. Oh, okay, so we are getting the actual thing. So this is how we can put it in a section. So all we have to do is say match table. Oh, no, we say match table get line numbers. Right, and then this is going to be the unwrap or else business. Or we could just ignore it. We can just say okay. Value is going to be, and that's where we put this code here. Match value. Like that. And that closes the match. That makes that go away. And if it, yeah. If it's an error, we'll just say line numbers off. Right, and then reformat that so that looks good. If this fails, yeah, this line numbers off. See, I don't like this business. I guess there's no cleaner way to do that. Oh, it doesn't like expected enum option found enum result. Oh, this is an option. Some, none. It still doesn't like it. Expected strict value found stir. Into stir. Stir. Nope. Oh, right. This is the thing that gets optioned. Well, this is a lot more annoying than I thought it would be. So we got, yeah, this, it was get string line numbers. Oh, get string. Right? Get string line numbers, and then we did unwrap or else, and then we gave it the default. Unwrap or else. Nothing. To string. As stir. Right, so we do the same thing here. But I wanted to defer this unwrap or else to the match. So if I do this, the error is that this is a result. Oh, method not found in hash map. Oh, this is a hash map. It's not a funky value thing. Okay. So we do get string, and this ends up being an option. Oh no, it's a result. So we convert it to a sum none. What's the error here? Oh, this is the problem. Okay. I guess we can do this. Right? No. Because now it's just an option string. So I guess, well, I guess we could do some this, right? Some absolute, some relative. This is ugly. Expected struct strings. So these have to be 2 strings. Okay, so I guess we convert this way. Let stir is equal to, oh. No, I can't do that. Value val into string. And I don't, the thing is, I don't want to return a result. I just want to say, well, if we couldn't convert it into a string, then we're going to just use the default. Unwrap or else this to a string, which is going to just give us the default as stir. And then we can match value as those guys. Right. So that matches that one, that matches this one, that matches this. Okay. There's something I'm not matching properly here. Right? Oh, I forgot this right there. There we go. Okay. All right. Takes 0 arguments. Expected closure that takes 1 argument. Oh, I forgot the that. There we go. Move occurs. Except I don't want to move. Can I say ref here? Nope. Oh, okay, so maybe I have to do the full match here. Yeah. Oh, no, that's still bad. What type is val? It's a value, and I want to into string it to get the string from it. And I don't want to move it. I just Wow, this is a lot more annoying. Let's take a look at the source here. Yeah. Should this not be trying to? It would be nice if it didn't try to move it or convert it, right? It is returning the value, but it's not returning a clone of the value. It's actually returning the value itself, and I don't want to. I just want to get the value of it. It says can't move out of val. Move occurs because star val has type value, which is not implement the copy trait. So this was a, an annoying outcome. Is there any other way to go about doing this? We get the value here, we get this here, and I just want to look, and the move happens on the into. Which is what you're supposed to use to get the value out of the, what else is here? Yeah, into unit 128. into uint. It's a string. Oh, the string gets converted to ones and zeros. That's interesting. Do I have to clone it here? Let val equals val.clone. Can I clone it? And then not worry about it? Yeah. That's annoying. Alright, so now line numbers should default to off, or at least should be able to be read. I don't have the eprint line, do I? I have it just there. Okay. So this is kind of annoying, and it looks like we need to make this a separate function that'll decode the config values, and then we'll have like a config struct that we shove in where it needs to be. But for now, this does the trick. Or let's see if it does the trick. So let me go over here. .config kilo init, and it's currently off. So if I just run, they are off. If I say absolute quit, they're there, and they are absolute. And if I say relative, now they're relative. Okay, so that's working again. Good. Okay, so let's see. Is there anything we need to do to clean this up? Git diff. Yeah. Oh, the other thing I want to do is clean up the way we do this default stuff. Yeah. So what we can do is return this config builder, right? And then load config can take a path with an existing config builder and then use that. So builder.add source. Am I doing it that way? I can just do it this way. And then how do we handle things here? Like config builder. We start this way. Let config builder equals default config mutable. And then we say if let some config file match load config builder. We can say if error this is equal to that, and that goes away, and that goes away, and that goes away. And then we have this business here. There's got to be a better way to do this kind of thing too. What did I miss? I missed something. Config build. Oh, then I forgot the config builder. Right. And then I can say config builder build. Like that. Right? And then, oh, I don't want to build this here. I just want to return it. Not found in the scope. Let's add that. Config builder. What's the other error? That's the same thing. Okay. Expected one generic argument. Oh, nice. That means we can't just return a config builder. Oh, well, I mean, I could just say config builder, right? Config builder. And what type is that? Default state. Maybe I can throw that in there. Although that doesn't seem right to me. Oh, and I have to pull in default state. Types different mutability. Expected struct config found enum result. Oh, I have to see if it builds, right? If let okay config is equal to this, then we return config. Else, oh, then we need a default config again if that doesn't build. So we have to create a new one, default config build, unwrap, and that'll panic if, oops, I don't like that. Stop it. Expected enum result found struct config builder. Oh. Really? It doesn't add source doesn't return a result. It always works. Okay. And then what's up here? This expression has type config builder default state and enum result. That's true, it does. Okay, so this doesn't return an error. Actually, this doesn't have to if this add source just doesn't return a result, we don't care about the return value. Right? And then we don't have to do all this business. We can just say config builder, add source, right? And then just add this whole thing. Oh. Config file. And that won't fail, but it could fail here. Okay. And now we have a move issue. Really? Let config builder equals this. That's annoying. That won't work either, right? Because we're going to be doing a move. Else config builder. Wow. Okay. This is terrible. This is terrible code. And we no longer need load source. And this doesn't need to be mutable, really? Then how do we do the add source business to it? Oh, we don't. This returns a new config builder with, and then we don't need path anymore. Is what it's complaining about, and we don't need config error anymore. I thought I was making this cleaner, but it's actually messier. All right, let's see if this even works. No, it seems to work. It was able to read the default being the thing. So we start off with looking up the config file and creating a config builder with the default config. If there's a config file, then we add it as a source. If there isn't, then we keep the same config builder. And I don't know if Rust is smart enough to just say don't do anything here. The same thing here. If there's a config, we call build on it, and that returns the config. Sorry, if config builder build works, right, it returns the config. Otherwise, if this fails, we're going to ignore it and just use the default configuration. It would create a brand new one of. If we call this default builder, then we can say this is the default builder. If there's no file, we're going to continue using the default builder as our config builder. Otherwise, we can say default builder build. That way we only call default config one time. And that doesn't work. Can I make this a reference? Temporary value dropped while borrowed. Okay. I was trying to figure out how to do that. Okay, so but default builder is being moved into config builder. If this works. Sorry, if this fails, then this gets moved and so we can't use it here. Oh, that's a shame. Okay, so let's put this back. That means we do have to call it twice. Yeah. All right, so if there's a file, add it to the config, attempt to load the config from the defaults plus any file found, and failsafe if the file failed to read, then fall back to the defaults. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. And then here we pass it in. That all works. This should still be relative numbers if we're reading the file correctly, and it is. Okay, very good. I think we'll leave it there. I think we played around with it enough now. Git status, git diff, git add source, git commit -m. Allow init section file to have sections or tables in the parlance of the config crate that we're using. Okay. That being done, let's take a look at some other stuff here. Hard wrap lines would be interesting. We would want, try not to insert a new line where it would split up a word. So that means, the other thing I wanted to see, I thought there's got to be a way in, not in cursive. What is cursive? First, if it's a TUI library. Oh, that's right. We're going to take a look at that one as an alternative to crossterm, which is what we're using. I have crossterm back here. I do not. I thought I would have. NES. Oh, thank you. Kilo tutorial. What's it? Anti-colors. Attribute. What's this for? Crossterm. There we go. Okay. So we can take a look at the crossterm crate, and I think there's got to be a resize, right? Resize. There is. There's a resize event that you can get. Okay. So that would be something good to do, right? To be able to resize this, because right now if I do this, it just wraps. So if I have a long, and it doesn't do the display correctly. Yeah, see? Because I've changed the size of the terminal now. Okay, so quit. I want to be able to handle resizes, which means our screen code has to be able to handle resizes. So we have to have a pub on resize on self. It's left self. And the way we currently get this size is we do this. Right? And that returns a result self. And then we're going to just say self width is equal to columns, and self height is equal to rows minus 2, and then we're going to just say self draw rows. Oh. Result. And that just returns true or false depending on if the thing's changed. Let change is equal to self width is not equal to columns, or self height is not equal to rows minus 2. And we just changed. Right? And it doesn't like that. Expected result. Oh, it's okay changed. There we go. Now we're not calling resize yet, but we can do that. And then, so from the editor would have to call draw rows after we do the resize. So how do we do the resize in the editor? We need to grab this is a process key press. Oh, okay, so how do we read this event? Is key press always going to be, this says key event, right? Which is this. How do we read a resize event? I thought it would just be, well, we'll just add to this thing, but this is self keyboard read. Keyboard is over here, Oh, I see. So if let key event is this. So this is not just reading the keyboard. This is actually reading any event from crossterm as event reader. And it's returning a key event. Okay, so that means refactoring the way this is doing stuff. Where does this result code come from? This is probably something invented here. Yeah, key read fail. I can kind of cheat and say if it's not a key event, oops, match key event. Oh, sorry, match event, key event, return, okay, key event. if it's a resize, columns rows, call row, return error, result code, resized, call row. And then anything else is a result code key read fail. Right, and then we'll just add to result code this resized. It's kind of cheating, but it does the trick, right? U16, U16. Right? And then it's going to say we can't do that. Oh, because of that. Why isn't it complaining about in our editor? Oh, I probably have a match everything else thing. Right? If it's a read, we match C. Oh, if let OK, and then else, unable to read from the keyboard. Okay. So we don't want to do it quite like this. We want to say let event is self keyboard read. If let OK is event, then it's a keyboard event. Else if event let result code resized call row equals event. Can I do it this way and then else? Or do I have to unwrap the error? Yeah, expected enum result. So I can say error, right? Okay, and now what we can do is we can output that into here. And if I make it wider, we should get a resize, and make it narrower, we should get a resize, and I put it back here, or wherever it was. Cat error. Yeah, so we're getting resize events all over the place. That's good. Okay, so now all we need to do is super simple. Refresh screen. So when we process a QPress, we're going to automatically refresh the screen. So all we have to do is call resize and then return false. We don't need to do this because we shouldn't be changing the highlighting. This is just updating the highlighting. If the text changed, then update the syntax highlighting for just say update the syntax highlighting. We don't need to do that. So if I just return OK false. Oh, it doesn't, yeah, it doesn't matter because dirty is not going to change on this in this instance. So we can just, instead of this, say self screen resize call row. And then it'll refresh the screen here, which will do all the work of clearing it and redrawing it. Wow, is that going to be super simple? Oops, doesn't like that. Expected 0 arguments. Oh, right. Because we just retrieve it. Can we just trust? And we don't need to know whether or not it changed. We just update it this way. Okay, now let's see what happens. All right, Oh, let's open a file. Main.rs. Okay, so if I do this now, it does redraw it. It goes in while we're doing this, but then it pops. When you stop moving, the resize event gets set. Right? And now, if I go here, this should scroll. Yeah, and it does. Right? If I make it too narrow, then things are going to fail. Oh, we must be writing to the error output here. It died. Oh, I got to reset the terminal. Attempt to subtract the overall. Yeah, it's, something happened. We got too narrow. So that's on line 205. Oh, okay. So draw status bar. It failed there. So we can ignore drawing the status bar if screen width is, sorry, if right width is greater than screen width. So we could ignore that. So if right width is less than screen width, and this might not be the only bug, but we can see. So again, here we do this, and I try to make it super narrow, and it has not crashed. Okay, that's good. Nice. It won't let me make it less than whatever this is. And then height too should work. Cargo run DLC to error. It does. That's weird though, that if see at the top, the status bar is showing up, and I'm not sure what's causing that. But we're able to get the screen resizes. That's good. Yep, and that was pretty easy to add, right? And we kind of cheated. I'm not liking the way I did this, but I'm not gonna worry about it because it works. It would be better to have a general event processor than pretending that this is a keyboard event. Resize, and then this just prevents us from subtracting with borrow. Okay, that's good. Git add source, git commit, detect screen resizing, and redraw display. Okay, and that wasn't even on the list, so that was a bonus on top of a bonus content. What should be good next? I'm thinking about how to do like soft wrap. So when a line is longer than the screen width, use multiple lines on the screen to display it instead of horizontal scrolling. And that would mean pretending the display is smaller than it actually is, right? If we have a wrapped line, right? That means the third line here, which is line 4, would come around to here, and then the next line would be down here. And then we would have to know not to draw further. And then when the cursor moves down, it would have to jump down 2. So the screen itself would have to have like an internal representation of... Ooh, how would we do that? Because any given line could wrap multiple screen lines. And then if you push down arrow, you want to skip to the next file line, not to the next screen line. And then you'd want to leave a gap here. Let's take a look at the screen code where we draw the remaining columns. We know what the end is, right? Because the end we calculated where? Here. But if the end is not past right, because what's happening is we know that file row, there's a one-to-one mapping between file rows, a row in the file, and the current row on the screen. And if we do soft wrapping, then that won't be true anymore, right? We say let file row is equal to row plus row offset. And row offset is the how many lines down in the file the first line is. So that means that we would have to keep track of how many gaps there are and add that also to, or subtract that from file row. So it would be row minus the gaps plus the row offset. Is that something that we could possibly even do? Let mod gaps equals 0. Row minus gaps plus row offset. I mean, this will build, but we won't be modifying gaps. So it'll give us a warning for that. And then gaps means we want to be able to here draw a row in remaining columns and then wrap if there's more to go. In the render string. There's a way in Rust. Split n, is it? Where we can split n characters at a time. Or n values at a time. Split off, swap, setlen. R split n. So that means there must be a split n, right? So, and I'm guessing n means a number. And then a predicate. What's a predicate too? Returns an iterator over subslices separated by elements that match the predicate, limited to returning at most n items. So if we just make the predicate just return false, then it'll match all the items, right? And I don't want split. What does split do on its own? That's just a predicate-based split. Okay. Split first, returns the first and all the rest of the elements of the slice, or none if it's empty. Select nth unstable. Okay. Maybe it's just split n. Split inclusive. Match element is contained in the end of the previous subslice as a terminator. Okay. Mana says, you're mentioning n values makes me think it doesn't quite always work like that with UTF-8, and now just wondering how badly it would break with non-ASCII, even just an emoji. Oh yeah, this definitely breaks. This definitely breaks with emoji. If I try to paste an emoji character in here, boom, it panics. And we can take a look at the error message. It's probably related to being in the middle of, yeah, byte index 2 is not on a char boundary. So we're definitely not in UTF-8 land. So that's a project for another stream, I think, is making this UTF-8 compatible. And the more, of course, the more I work on this, the worse it's going to get. And it's in row 176. Yeah. So this is where we're trying to figure out whether or not we're going to highlight it. So we're in the middle of trying to work our way through the crab and we fail. So, so I think what we can do is we can take rows file row, s in rows file row dot render from start to the full end, and then say split n on end minus start. That's the width we're trying to go for, with a predicate of false. And what is s? S is a stir, which is I think what we want to do, right? And then we can say for c in s dot to string chars, and then indent everything. Oh, and then we have to increment gap plus equals 1. And then Amanda says, I think there are some libraries to handle characters as morphemes to handle that. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's better ways to get... Actually, you know, probably the better way... Let's take a look at row again. Probably the better way to do this is to do like self render chars skip I take len, right? And that would get those. What would that actually be? That's unknown. Collect. Nope. Next. I forget how to grab this. It's still unknown. Oh, because I like this. Option char. Collect. Unknown. String. String. Okay, so it's able to do that, and then we should check to see if x is equal to SCS, and that might all be all we need to do, right? In order to check to see this thing, that might fix that crab problem. But there. Like I said, a project for another time, because I'm sure that's not the only place. All right, so gap plus equals 1, and now we have to include the gap in our offset. So where do we move the cursor? Oh, here. Like this, ln shift plus gap. Row plus gap. It can't be this simple. I just know it can't be this simple. Help a local variable, gaps. Nope. Oh, did I just kill the parenthesis? There. It doesn't like this now. Question mark operator is... Oh, it does go that way. Okay. There we go. All right, so now let's see what happens. Whoops. I don't like that. There was no error. It just... It wouldn't move past the first row. Okay. This should be... Yeah, that's a string. Okay, so what's going wrong here? Because it's printing the first row and then printing a 1 with a blank line and then printing the first row again. It's like it's not moving past the... Did I reuse a variable by accident here? Am I shadowing something? This is for row in 0 to self height. println, no, eprintln, rendering row. Let's do that. And we can take a look at what that says. Quit. Yeah, it's rendering the different rows. Am I pulling the wrong row here? Oh, did I just, no, here's rows, it's empty. This is the full vector of all the rows of the file being passed in as a reference. So that's correct. File row is row minus gaps. Oh, I'm incrementing gaps regardless of whether there is yeah. I only want to increment this if there's more. How do we find out if there's more? I guess we can let mut count equals 0, row count, or screen row count is equal to 0. And then we can just increment screen row count here. And then if screen row count is more than 1, then we're going to increment gaps. By screen row count minus 1. Because there should be at least one row, and we might, if we have more than one row, then we want to do that. This then gets screen row count. Right? Is that the only move to here? Yeah, the next one is on the clear. Okay. Let's see if this does it. I still don't know why it would just be the first one. All right. So this is still rendering things correctly. If I pull this in, then it panics. Okay. So now we have a bug. Oh, let me get rid of that rendering. And then let's fix the terminal. So we can actually look at what the error is. Tail error. Oh, it shows me right there. Okay, line 140. Doesn't like this. Highlight is normal. Really? Huh. Where is it getting HL from? That's why I popped up here. HL iter next. And HL iter is the iter highlight from just from start to end. Oh. We need to get the full thing, right? Where is this defined? So we don't want it to go from start to end. We just want to start at start and grab all of them. Okay. Does that build? That does not build because I'm supplying 2. And I need to supply 1. Right? There we go. Okay. Let's take a look at this again. And see if we can get it to wrap. Okay, not quite, right? Not quite. What should have happened was there should have been a blank here. And when we go over this line, I obviously didn't do this part yet, but when we go over this line, it's got to, yeah, I thought I added gap onto that, and then we added the gaps here. Right? And we're adding this row plus gaps. And gap should have gotten it's going to be at least one. And so we're going to say if it's more than one, right? So if it's two, if we use 2 lines, we want to add 1 to the gap to say we're gapping down by 1. Well, the other part is that we need to say self height minus gaps. That's the other part. Okay, so let's see, where are we using row? Because maybe there's a place we're using row that we shouldn't be. Oh yeah, this is if. Okay, this is different. This is inside there. Here, row plus gaps. That's a line number thing. Right. And this already has rows plus gaps, so I'm confused why this line is ending up here. Because it should have been skipping over it. Should have been skipping over it there. Well, its gaps is not ending up right. Let's see, e permanent new gap equals gaps. Okay, so we can try this out. Quit. Do that. And make it too narrow. It still doesn't work, even though I'm adding gaps in. So it might be that this gaps thing cat there. Yeah, we're not detecting any gaps. So we're only hitting one S, even though we're going past. I mean, this is definitely working in the sense that we're able to display the characters, and the only way we would be able to display the characters is if we had enough of them here. S, I would have thought, right? Yeah, S is a stir type. And this should be, let's see, it should be an iterator of split n. Yeah, a function which takes a char and returns a bool as to whether or not to split there. But we split at most here. Will it continue to split? Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's only splitting once. Returns an iterator over subslices separated by elements that match pred. Limited to returning at most n items. The matched element is not contained in the subslice. No, we're not matching any. The last element returned, if any, will contain the remainder of the slice. Print the splice once by numbers divisible by 3. 1040, 20, 60, 50. Oh, it only splits it once. I mean, it should still give us two things, right? Yeah, so this is not splitting every. Maybe I want take. This is a nightly only experimental API. Slice take. Oh, this because it removes this subslice. All right, so there has to be a way. Like, I know there's like windows, but I don't want windows. I want something similar to this where we get an iterator over, oh, chunks. Returns an iterator over chunk size elements of the slice at a time, starting at the beginning of the slice. Unknown. Collect string. Will that work? It's still unknown, which means didn't compile, right? Field expressions have generic arguments. Well, what is chunks then? Right? Returns an iterator over chunk size elements of the slice at a time, starting at the beginning of the slice. So I'm giving it a slice, and I'm calling chunks on it. Why doesn't it like that? Chunks. Method not found in stir. Oh, this is not a slice? No, you can't do an as slice. Why is this a stir? Although it is. This is a stir. Okay. Do I have to say chars? How do you make this a slice? Because I thought so render itself is a string, right? Yes. So if I do this, I'm getting a stir out of it. I see. Not a slice out of it. Rust back slice. How do I get a slice of ect? Yeah, but if you're doing it as a stir, then it doesn't work. Rust string slice. Std stir is a That's why. Okay. Rust stir slice. Stir type is also called a string slice. It's the most primitive string type. So if this is a slice, I should be able to say chunks. And now it's unknown because you can't do that. Method not found in stir. Slice from raw parts. We can't rebuild a stir out of a pointer and a len. This is all unsafe because we're responsible for making sure the two components are valid. Iterator over substrings and slice separated by characters matching the pattern. Split at. Divide one string slice into two as an index. So if this is a char, then maybe that's what we need to do, is split it using this thing here. Here's split n again with a pattern, which I tried before, but it doesn't work because it only splits into two pieces, right? If nothing matches, it'll only split it into two pieces. Yeah, and then stuff down here is not helpful either. Okay. So I don't think we can do what we want to do simply. Panics if mid is not on UTF-8 code point boundary. Okay, that's fine. Because I'm not going to worry about that just yet. I don't want mutable string slices. But this is going to do... What does it return if... all I want to do is loop over... Oh, we can... Yeah, so if we do chars, this is an iterator. And then I want to iterate over the iterator. No. Okay, so we're not going to do that. But chunks is on what? Chunks is on string? No, chunks is on vec. So I can say let x is equal to rows this. This is stir. We can say chars collect vec of char. Right? Now it's a vec of char. And now I can say chunks of n minus start. This is a long way to do it. Now it's chunks. And then we can say collect that into string. Oh, vec of string. Right? And then we can for s in that. Is that the way to do it? Ravith 2017, thank you. Thank you for the follow. So, oh, this needs to be like this. Jimena says maybe pre-compute all the rows slices before rendering. Yeah, I'm just trying to do it the fancy way, I guess. Will this build? It does not. We can't collect. Can't be built from iterator over chars. Can we do it like that? And then S is going to be a vector of chars? No. Value of type vector char can't be built from iterator of... Oh, of chunks of chars. Can we do that? Is that legal? Yes? And then S2 string doesn't work. But we don't have to, right? Because we already have chars for CNS, right? And then C is a char. Oh, C as UA. Ooh, holy moly. Okay. Revit says, how to be good at coding? I am a first year. The best way to get good at coding is to just write code. So I would recommend actually pick a language you like. Python, JavaScript, Rust, whatever. And then there's LeetCode. And there's coding, whatever, but I would go here and try days 1 through 4 maybe on all the years. So there's 7 years now, sorry. And days 1 through 4 for all the years are pretty straightforward and pretty easy. So that's fun to do, and you can also have leaderboards and all that kind of jazz. So that's what I would recommend, and LeetCode, right? And there's a bunch of other things like LeetCode, sites like LeetCode, right? 10 most popular coding challenge websites, updated for 2021. Top Coder, CoderByte, Project Euler. Oh, Project Euler's good actually. I like that. HackerRank, which gets used a lot in interviews. So the better you are at that stuff. Code Chef. I haven't heard of that one. Code Wars, yep, LeetCode, Spodge, and Code and Game, which I tried Code and Game, but I found it to be really dull. So I don't personally recommend it, but but there's a lot of people who enjoy it. So Revan says, "Thank you, Mr. Steam." You're welcome. I'm not sure I would call myself a Steam, but maybe people find me steamy? Okay. Let's take a look at what this does. And it panics right away on an empty line. Sweet. Left 0, right 0. And slice. Oh, we need the full backtrace to see which line of my code blew things up. Uh, 125. Huh. Interesting. So I can't do this. Oh, maybe n minus start ended up being negative or something? Or 0? Right, if there's no characters in it. That makes sense. Then n minus start is 0 and we can't chunk. We can't chunk a 0. And before it didn't matter, we just skip it. Okay. So if end is greater than start, then we have to indent yet another level of indentation. Right? Shift all of that over. Okay. At least it's an easy fix. Let's do this. Okay, so now it draws it. This all still works as before. We'll scroll in. Yeah, something's obviously bad. Once there's a gap, we screw up our next row. We just keep printing it. We are skipping over the thing, which is nice. But we're not handling, there's some gap thing we're not handling correctly. Because it's choosing the same file row. Or maybe I don't do minus gaps. You have to say if row plus gaps is greater than or equal to self height, break. Maybe we don't do this. Maybe that's the bug. Okay. Let's see if that's the bug. Quit. Run. Yeah, look at that. Oh, but the cursor's in the wrong spot. So we have to make sure we move the cursor. Oh, darn it. The cursor gets set in the editor. Move to. Yeah. Self row off, self call off, self cursor. So refresh screen needs to return how many gaps there are so we can add the gap to the cursor. right? Self screen gets called. We pass in the rows, the row offset, column offset, and the cursor's current row. And the cursor here in this instance is the cursor in the file. So, can we store the gaps? Do we have a mutable screen here? We do. So we can say gaps, view 16. And then just say gaps self. And that way we keep track of what the gap is. Right? And then when we say move to, we use that knowledge to shift our Y. Oh, and then the scroll also needs to know. Dang it. The scroll also needs to know if we need to wrap. Oh, that's not too bad, right? Because we just have to add in the gaps. And we can get the gaps from the screen, right? In fact, we can cheat and make that pub. And then we can add in the gap. If self render X is self cursor above rows len, cursor Y is U size, CX to RX. Okay, let's come back to this. Let's come back to this once we figured out this bit here. Where's move to? Standard IQ, move to column, row, plus self gaps. Okay. And that's an error because I forgot to put gaps of 0 in here. Okay. So now, we run this, and we're in the wrong spot already. Oh, because we have to, we can't just calculate the gaps. We actually have to know how many gaps there are above and below. Or above, anyway. So each row has to have its own gap count. Gaps is going to be a vec of U16. And at the beginning, we just say gaps is vec new. And then we say the current gap. At the beginning of each thing, we're going to say whatever. Oh no, at the beginning here, say let gaps equal 0. And it's going to be each one. So gaps. Yeah, now we have to put these all back. And at the end of each loop, here's the loop. At the end of each loop, we have to just say self gaps push gaps, right? And that way it'll increment as we move down. So then here, self gaps of pause Y minus row off. We get the gap for that row. And it doesn't like that. Slices are, of U size. Okay. Oh, really? Oh, here. Here we go. All right, let's try this. So, okay, now it's on the correct line. This 2 should not be here, obviously. And that's in the wrong spot. And now it jumps. Oh no, that 2 is correct. Yeah, and that 3 is correct. Okay, yeah, that's right. It's just that here, this should not jump the gap right there. It should jump the gap on the next line. So let's take a look at move 2. Come on. And we want to subtract 1 from this, but we can't if pos y minus row off, if pos y is equal to row off. Right? Let offset is equal to if pos y equals row off, then it's going to be 0, else it's going to be self gaps pos y minus row off minus 1 as u size, that, and then we're going to just say plus offset. Right? Is that okay? Is that going to work? Quit. Run. And down. Yes. Okay, so, and then up, going up, it's the same thing. It jumps over the row. And if I go this, now here's the issue, right? Now I want to be able to move here and go off the edge. And I want to be here at the F. Or at the I, sorry. Ooh, oh, that's interesting. Key Mada. Oh, did the I get... Oh, it's drawing it the wrong way. Okay. Okay, that we need to... Oh, this is more complicated than I thought it would be. And I don't have time to fix it all. Alright, so we're in the middle of this mess. Which means we're going to have to leave us hanging here. Let's see if we can at least fix this thing. Right, because if we have gaps, then we actually want to do this here. We want to say if this would be the row offset, and we have a column offset. Oh, these are different offsets, right? Let's not get too confusing. Gap row and then gap col is going to be if render x minus col off, render x is going to be where we want to put pos. If pos.x mod render x minus col off plus self ln shift. Oh, no. We want the width of the screen, right? We're trying to get the width of the screen minus how many characters we can fit on the screen. So this would be self width minus self ln shift. That's how many characters we can fit. Oops. And we're going to divide it, right? Because if it's less than this, then we're going to stay on this line. Otherwise, we're going to actually increase the row offset. And this is going to be gap row. And gap column. We're actually going to add it here, gap column. And this is going to just be this. If self width is equal to self ln shift, then this is going to panic, right? But that'll at least allow us to, right? If I say key mod, and then if I go right here, it should increment the next one and drop down to here. and it didn't. Oh, and then, okay, yeah. Okay, actually this is going to be plus this, right? That way we can do it all in one swell foop, and then we're going to call gap call something else. Gap call is going to be the actual column we're on. The column we're on is this, but it might be wrapped around based on the self width minus self ln shift. So we want to get that. Yeah, we want to get that value. Let cursor column wrap is equal to pos x divided by that. Let's use 16, and then we're going to add the column wrap. That's a column wrap count. Okay, and then, actually, I should put it here. I think it's easier to read, right? Column wrap plus this. Okay, and then the actual column is going to be the mod, right? Of these guys, right? So we just need this mod. Okay, so let column is equal to render x minus call off plus self ln shift mod that thing. Well, that's a weird way to format it, but okay. What are we not using? Column. Oh, yes, we have to put column here. Like that. Okay. Now let's see what happens. And now it died. Move to 208. Divisor of 0. This wasn't a divisor of 0, but this one is. Oh, maybe this is 0. Oh, that makes sense. Let offset is equal to if no. Yeah, let mod value is equal to this. And this won't be 0. But we can say if mod value is greater than 0, let column equals, then it's this mod column, mod value, else it's just that directly. Okay. That's a little sloppy. Right now I'm just hacking to get it to work because I need to end the stream. Oh, and now that we're in the wrong spot. And plus the ln shift. The ln shift comes later. Okay, so we're going to say let display width is equal to self width minus self ln shift. Right? Display width. Render x minus call offset. Moss says, did you give up about the LSP, by the way? I haven't even started it yet. And Mouse also says, are you planning to compare what you did to what Kibi chose? I don't know what Kibi chose. Do you have a link for Kibi so I can take a look at see what they chose? All right. Yeah, render x minus call off is what we want, mod value, and then render x minus call off without the mod if it's 0. And then the column becomes that. I have no idea if that's going to work. And then we have extra parentheses we don't need. I'm just trying to make it look nice. That's all. Okay. Why can't we have nice things? Okay, that works. If I go left, no, it doesn't work. Okay. All right, we're going to have to leave it there and then finish it later. Get status. There's a bunch of changes I made to just try to get it to start to work. Oh, I don't even have this. Oh, that's right, because we still have to work on that. Okay, so that'll be the next stream maybe. We can work on that. Git, push. We'll push what we committed today. Oh, we got a link. Thank you, Mouse. Let's take a look at the link. Right here. Ile Dutil owns this repo. Okay. Kibi, text editor in less than 1,000 lines of code written in Rust. Oh, it has UTF-8 support. Yeah, I didn't do any of that. And I wonder if there's some good tests in here, because I didn't do any tests either. No? I don't see there. Where's main? Any tests in main? No. Terminal? No tests there. Error. And one of the things I struggle with these kinds of programs is how do you test to see if it's working? And there are tests in here. They're using XDG. Cool. Test configure, but there's no test hashtag on it. Yeah. This looks like it has some pretty good testing. At least for the file I/O stuff. That's neat. Thanks. I will take a look at that offline. Yeah, I'm not going for lines of code at this point. I'm going for I'm just having fun trying to figure out learning how to do all this stuff. And obviously I'm struggling with how to do all this stuff because I don't know how to do this stuff yet. And the struggle right now is figuring out where to put the cursor when there's a gap line. All right, that's that. That wraps things up, and I'm going to hopefully stream next week. Hopefully on Monday. We'll see. So until then, have a great weekend, everyone, and take care.